I just wanted to quickly touch on another area that I'm working with directly is our code of conduct for our suppliers, which is called IWAY, the IKEA way on purchasing products and services. And it is something that we institute around the world with all of our home furnishing suppliers. And when we talk about IWAY, we try to keep a couple things very core to this. Always asking ourselves, when you're implementing these things, you're working with the suppliers, what is, with regards to issues, what is in the best interest of the child? So if there is issues of child labor in an area, when you're reacting to it, keeping that in mind. The worker. Some of the decisions you can make, it's easy just to close a factory, walk away or whatever, but is that really in the best interest of the worker, the children, if there's anything found like that? Taking a larger perception of it, and the environment as well. There are some quick, easy, maybe media-friendly solutions to all of these issues, but if you really look at the impact that you're going to have and are you really trying to work on the problem, that it takes a little bit more. But we start with the code itself. And there's something I think very important that happened 3 years ago now, is we changed the code from being just something that, there's the questions that you work with every day, but we put in something called the IWAY must, but we call them startup requirements. So these are requirements for suppliers before you can even start delivering for IKEA, before you can start signing a contract. This is the minimum level. We've been working with our code of conduct for about 11 years now. And the idea with these is to kind of raise the bar across the supply chain. We see in many areas of the world, suppliers are becoming more developed, so we should have higher expectations from a startup. It also means that if you start on a good level, the likelihood of you working with our code of conduct successfully in 1 year from now is much higher than if you're starting not having the basics, I would say, instituted. And it is things like a good system to prevent child labor. It's preventing forced and bonded labor, issues with contracts with workers, or if you're having migrant workers, how do you work with that to ensure that? It's not having severe safety hazards present in the factory or severe environmental pollution. These things need to be corrected. These are basic things that need to be done already. We move from that to the other chapters in IWAY, and these are something that as a supplier that you shall work with all the time. I mean, this is an ongoing thing. This isn't something that you get approved, you've reached a certain level and then you stop thinking about them. This is continuous work. It's something that has to be ingrained in the way you work. If you talk about forestry from a procurement point of view, from the responsible sort, I mean, is it certified? Is it meeting the certain requirements for not coming from intact natural forest and all that? That's back to the forest. When you talk about, we don't have necessarily the IWAY all the way back, and then it gets a little separate. You have the first tier supplier, which will have all of the requirements, and then possibly the second, and then for the forestry, then that goes all the way back to make sure that it's harvested from, the proper forest, that it's not an intact natural forest, that it's not high conservation value forest. That's our requirement. And then on top of that, then we're trying to expand the amount of FSC certified wood that we're purchasing. So if something isn't labeled FSC certified, we still have our own requirements that it's coming from, not from a legal forest, from a very high standard already. It's things you see development now where a company in an area may not have ever had good working records, and now 10 years later they have computerized systems for everything, and being able to be updated on laws and regulations, being able to get safety information on chemicals that they're using in the factory so they can work with it in a good way. And that's the type of development that you see. A lot of these things are very simple things. I mean, it's just good signage. It's to make sure that people know where they're working, that they should have, ear protection on, that there is, risks for different things in different areas, that I should have goggles on in certain areas. It's basic education, which, in years past you could see that were overlooked, or there just wasn't a culture of that.
No, we have one of our designers.
And you see changes from something like this. This is a little before and after, where you see a picture of a just really badly designed work area, which is also very unsafe for the worker. And after IWAY, you end up with something like this, which is much safer, safety guards on things. And of course, you can see, it's obvious from this, the production is going to be much more efficient. You're probably going to be able to save money. You have less injuries for workers. It's a better environment for people to work in. I can imagine you're a lot happier working in that environment as well. It's things, trying to come up with clever ideas for protecting workers. One of the things, the big changes that we've done in the Code of Conduct in the past 10 years is we've become less prescriptive of the requirements, telling the supplier exactly how you should do everything. Giving them, we have a lot of clever suppliers around the world who can come up with a lot of clever solutions to things. If you explain what the requirement is in a good way, they will come up with very good solutions to it. And you see more interesting and probably much better solutions than I would come up with sitting in my office in Helsingborg and trying to tell everybody around the world how to do it. We talked about water in our goals before, but one of the largest impacts, I would say, especially in Asia and South Asia, is water treatment plants. And that comes back to the IWAY must that we have, is that every supplier shall have water treatment facilities when it's necessary, that are not only have them, but they're operating to the right capacity, and they're done with trained people who know how to work with them. These are some examples from Bangladesh, and there are a lot of challenges there, and all of our suppliers now have really very good working effluent treatment, water treatment plants.
To add, before you move, I need to add an anecdote to that one. We had last week, actually, we had our 60 biggest suppliers in Älmhult visiting us, and we did a huge workshop with them on product improvements. And then we also discussed IWAY. So I sat down with a couple of suppliers and I asked them about how do you see the advantages of IWAY? How do you think it? Is it only hard work and not gaining anything, or what do you think about it? And they said, I have to say thank you, actually, for IWAY, because what has happened now during the last year in our region or canton in China, they have addressed, the authorities has now decided on a new law that all the suppliers needs to apply water treatment to a completely new level. And all our competitors around in society, they had to shut down to fix this. And we've already fixed it because we've had IWAY for 10 years. So he said, thank you, because we were in the forefront. So now we can continue production. Where we see all our competitors, they have to shut down for 2 months to fix it. So that was an anecdote connected that. That makes me feel warm, at least. It is giving them an advantage.
To note that, because this is part area that's near and dear to my heart. It's easy to have it on a piece of paper as well, but you do need to do follow up. We have our own internally. We have about 80 auditors around the world working for IKEA that do all of our own audits on the first level. We also have a group, my group, who makes sure that we do what we say we do in a sense, and does calibration activities to make sure that we have the same judgment levels. And then another important part is we have 3 external parties, external companies that do spot checks audits around the world, unannounced audits, to make sure that the level that we say we're at. And that's actually much more for internal checks, is to make sure that, okay, we say it's approved, but is it really approved? Is it on the right level?
Happen. This is a new tool. We've developed it during a year with lots of people within IKEA, but also benchmarked it outside IKEA with some external parties and launched it this spring. So it's really, really fresh, but we started to map our products. And the reason for doing this is that we would like to see where we are moving. We said that we want to move the total range to become better, as I mentioned in the beginning. Not forcing customers to choose between a good product from an environmental point of view and someone that's not reached as far. So we want to move the totality of the range, but we want to know how do we succeed in that one? How are we moving? So what we did now was to develop a tool to measure that. It's also a tool that helps our designers and product developers to know where to start. Because when I started this work a couple of years ago, they said, okay, I have this product, I want to make it better from a sustainability point of view. Where do I start? What should I do? I'm looking at you as a designer. What should I do? Should I focus on climate change? Should I focus on water questions? Should I focus on materials? Where to start? What to do? What has the biggest impact? And that, of course, differs from product to product and material to material. But this tool is supposed to help designers to see, okay, can I do more on this one or on that one or here, and then I score and then I try to move. So we show you a little bit on how it works. It links actually to, I will back up to that one. I'll show you how it works first. It's 11 criteria on it. The first criteria is, we call it less material. Can we make a new construction and technique for this material, for this product, to make it same quality, equally good for the customer, but using less materials, lightweight constructions. I told you before about the new weaving techniques for cotton, the high-strength steel, the board-on-frame, board-on-styles techniques. Can we use a new technique to make it more lightweight? The second criteria is, have we or can we use more renewable materials in this product? Third criteria, have we or can we use more recycled material into this product? Can we use environmentally better materials? Sounds really vague, but there's a long definition to that. In the scorecard, there's a long definition to it. That's things like FSC. That's things like better cotton. It's things like lyocell instead of cotton. Those kind of things is defined in what is classified as more as environmentally better material. Is the product separable and recyclable in its pieces? Is the quality good? That's an internal figure, COP, cost of poor quality it stands for, really internal abbreviation. But have we managed to improve the quality, or can we do more on that one? A product that is poor quality can never ever be sustainable. I got a question a while ago, what is the worst product from a sustainability point of view that you have in the range? I said all products with poor quality. Because if you produce this in a fantastic factory, all the way IWAY approved and good raw materials, you transport it super good to the stores, give it to the customers, and they have to come back with it because it's poor quality. It breaks down after a week. That can never be sustainable. Then it's complete use of both the material and transportation you've used. The seventh criteria is, have you managed to make it more transport efficient? Have you managed to make it more knockdown, more flat packed, more stackable? The sofa, the egg-top sofa that is knockdown will score on that one. The eighth one is the production where it's produced more energy efficient than before. And how is those factories compared to other factories? Have they worked on energy efficiency matters? Do they use renewable energy in the production? Again, going back to the suppliers. And the third supplier criteria, how are they on raw material utilization? Have they increased the yield in a smart way, making use of scrap materials? Have they used the whole piece of the fabric to reduce scrap? And then the last, but not the least criteria is product use. Can this product help our customers to reduce energy, water, or waste in their homes? That is a huge impact on how the product is designed. Can we make it more energy efficient lighting, for instance? So those are the 11 criteria that is being evaluated in the scorecard. Every criteria is then weighted against each other. So we've already in the system told that this one is more important than that one. It's weighted, and then you have a grade on all of them. So if you do renewable material, then you do it on how many, and you punch in how many percentage of renewable material you have in this product, and that's a grade to it. So then the grade you reach is multiplied by the weighting, and then you get a score on it. So you can either do a little on many criteria, so you can do a lot on a few, and you would reach a high score.